So in the first video, I said that a program typically takes an input and processes it and then produces an output. And we've looked at output, so now it's time to look at input. So how do we get our program to get information from the user? Well, the simplest way is to use the input command. So in BASIC, there's a command input, and there's two things we need to add to that. First of all, it's the question, so something that we're going to ask the user so they know what we're asking for. So what is your name? And again, if we don't want the answer to run into the text, it's always a good idea to include a space at the end. You might not always want that, depending on what it is that you're asking for. And then we need a semicolon, and then we need a variable to store the user's response, because there's no point in asking for something if we don't then store it and use it. So we haven't yet looked at variables. That's the next video, tutorial 3. So it might be worth coming back to recap this once you've had a look at that. But there's one thing to bear in mind when you're choosing the name of the variable, is that if you're asking for text, so if you want a word, a name, something like that, you need to put a dollar symbol on the end of the variable name. If you're asking for a number, it's best not to. So we'll have a look at that in a second. Okay, so what the program is doing there is it's asking the user what their name is, and then it's accepting an input. So if we run that program, okay, it's asking what is your name. It's included that space so it doesn't run together. I'm going to type in my name, Andrew, and press enter. Okay, that's all it does. Notice it doesn't do anything with that information because we haven't programmed it to do anything with that information. But because that information is stored in that variable name, we can use it with the print command that we looked at in the last video to produce some output. So what we could do is we could say hello, and then semicolon because we want to run them together, and then name, which is the name of the person. So if we run that program now, then what it'll do is it'll say, what is your name? I type in my name, and it'll say, hello, Andrew. So really, that's all you need to know about input. You can also get it to input a number, as I said a second ago. So if we say, give me a number. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a question. You could be a statement, and then a variable name. So we don't need the dollar because it's a number. So I'll just call it N for number, and then we can do something with that. Again, we can run things together. So we could say something like 2 times N is, and then we could put in a calculation. So there we are, combining all the techniques from the first 2 videos, already getting a bit more sophisticated result there. So what it's going to do is it's going to ask us for a name. Remember, the program runs down from the top, so it's going to ask us for a name. So Andrew, and it's going to say hello Andrew, and now it's going to say give me a number, and I say 12, and it says 2 times 12 is 24. So now we're starting to see the usefulness of the semicolon and the print command, because we don't know what N is going to be, and we don't know what the name is going to be because it's coming from the user. So we're running together text that we've predefined and things that come from the user to produce an output.